She spoke at the very first one, and she's here to talk about flow. Please welcome Beth Goza.
So yes, this is my fourth time on stage at Ignite, and it's a total privilege. And tonight I'm going to be talking about something personal. This is the first time I'm doing a talk that actually has to do with me instead of something fun that I'm working on or something I'm interested in. So here's the deal, going with the flow. Shit happens. In my life in the last 3 years, according to the Holmes and Raw stress scale, I have had several life-altering events that have basically turned my life to shit. So what do you do about shit? Well, you can write a best-selling biography and go on Oprah. You could drink copious amounts of booze, then write that best-selling biography. Or you could just start smoking crack by playing World of Warcraft 24 hours a day. On the other hand, in my case, I decided to eat shit. Food is good, food is cheap, but 100 pounds later, I realized maybe that wasn't the best approach. By the way, that's Mike Morhaime, CEO of Blizzard. He's my crack dealer. The other thing I did besides eating a lot of shit was I bought a lot of shit. Buying something makes you feel better. I tend to buy things that have wheels or require being plugged in. Sometimes a little bit of both. The thing was, it's just not very fulfilling. I mean, at the end of the day, eating and buying didn't work. So when I realized at that point, when life hands you lemons, just make shit. And that's when I decided to enter into the world of crafting. And what I didn't realize is, by crafting with my hands, I started crafting my life. So I started knitting shit. I've knit a lot of shit. You can see all my fun projects up there, and that led to me talking about knitting shit, and blogging about knitting shit, and taking photos. And then I started sewing shit, because sewing shit is faster than knitting shit. And it's really satisfying. You can whip out a project like in one night. Right now I'm currently making a set of pajamas for every holiday during the year. So I have a year of PJs. And then the best was learning to solder shit, because now you're burning things. And it smells awesome, and you get high, and things light up and blink. And after, you know, making shit for 2 or 3 years, you know, I really turned around and realized, this is the shit. I am having a great time. And I was trying to figure out, like, why is this so much more satisfying than eating and buying shit? I actually had to have that conversation with myself. And I realized there must be an explanation for this. And I found it in the theory of flow by this guy whose name I still can't pronounce. It's Hungarian. And flow is really, he defines it as a mental state in what you're doing. You're so fully immersed and you're feeling so energized, and there's this sense of success that you're just basically in an area of pure confidence. He describes it as sort of being this perfect mix between challenge and skill. So as I was taking on challenges with making shit, I was improving in my skill, always trying something that was a little bit harder. There are 9 elements to flow. You have a clear goal every step of the way. You know what you're working towards. You have immediate feedback. I love seeing a project come together. There tends to be a perfect balance between challenge and skills to keep you, you know, interested. Action and awareness are merged into one, and distractions are sort of excluded. You don't hear the phone ringing. You don't realize you're hungry. There's no worry of failure. You know you're going to finish. It may look like crap, but you finish the project, which is very satisfying. Self-consciousness disappears. I've never done so much sharing of things that I've worked on since I started making stuff. Time becomes distorted. You realize it's, you know, 1 in the morning and you're still working on that left pajama leg. And at the end of the day, you start doing stuff just to do it. Athletes call this being in the zone, something I've actually never experienced, as you can tell. But it's commensurate with flow, because that challenge and that focus is there, and that sense of success. People who live very spiritual lives sometimes talk about being at one, whether it's being at one with their, you know, God, or whether it's being at one with others. It's a state of flow. And musicians also talk about being into the groove. So here's Fish. If anybody's a Fish fan, these guys definitely have flow. They're doing improvisation. They don't need, you know, any music written down, and, you know, 40 minutes later they're still playing into the groove. And so all of these states represent flow. Now, one thing that was interesting, even though I was making fun of Blizzard earlier with World of Warcraft, Genova Chen did her master's or PhD thesis on flow in and game design. Fascinating, and there's a game called Flow, which if you've never played it, I recommend checking it out. It's free on the web. So, in closing, Lifecrafting 101 is about taking the shitty things that happened in your life and turning them around by making shit. Finding something that makes your flow happen and brings you to a state of sort of happiness and peace, and it's less expensive and you don't get fat.